Hello and welcome back to the U Up Podcast. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Freed. It is so good to be back here with you, Jordana. We'd love a Sunday special, a short, bite-sized episode for you, the listener, to share.
Yes, we are fresh off of our, if you're wondering why I look so amazing, we are fresh off of our...
And why I look so sweaty.
You changed. You're not sweaty
I changed.
anymore. Yeah.
We did a photo shoot. We're
Yes.
a rebrand for the
Yes.
podcast.
We are doing a revamp of the cover and some other branding stuff. We took some really fun pictures.
We're doing this to find new listeners. We like you, the listener.
And because it's time for a makeover.
A little brush
know.
up, but like we want to jump off the screen. This is us saying, share. Let a friend know. We're trying on our end.
We're trying to find a new hot version of you.
Right.
A newer, hotter, younger version of you. So that's why we did a glow up.
So
It's like
if
the
you
way-
don't want,
you ever see a
us
woman-
divorcing you,
Yeah. No. I mean, that's a thing among women. It's like women don't want their husbands getting too hot.
really?
They're like, why are they working out?
Oh
Who's
no!
that for?
Who's what?
Who's
what
that for?
Planning the exit. I was at the beach last week. I went to Manasquan.
Beware of men who care about their physical appearance after they're married.
I think that's a little weird when I see like a lot of like my buddies, like if they've like gotten in better shape since the marriage and
Yeah,
like,
you're kind of
just
like,
cutting up, and I'm like, for what?
for who?
Yeah. What are you getting ready for? For football in the fall?
Why would anyone try to self-improve after they've already...
I am done.
someone.
I'm never improving. This is it. Never gonna change. I've decided.
And you're not even married yet.
I don't give a fuck. You get as seen is what you get. You get what you see.
Yes, as is.
As is all this, honeys.
Yes. But we need to go to Plug City because this bar was awesome.
It's called Albert's, and Peter, who's the owner, is a listener. He's
Yes.
one of you that we're trying to get rid of as a listener. No, he's one of you. Great guy. They own the Spaniard, Wilfie and Nell, the Penrose on the Upper East Side.
They own the Penrose too.
Penrose
Great
as
bar,
well.
yeah.
All these bars are bars that I would suggest as first date place. Albert's, I gotta say, thoroughly impressed. 41st
Love
and
it.
Lex.
It's new. It's like a new bar.
Beautiful.
Formerly Public House. Much
Right.
better than Public House.
I was
R.I.P.
We went there to take pictures, so that
Yes.
tells you what the aesthetic is. Like
Beautiful
it's a picture
bar.
taken.
Yeah.
The food, my God, what did you get?
I got the octopus salad.
They had an
Delish.
octopus salad. I got the tomato sandwich.
Place
You're
was
like
bumping for like
bumping.
lunch. I didn't know people would like eat at bars.
I
but
didn't.
It was great.
I had no idea people were doing lunch. It was
Yeah.
like martini lunch in there.
Great
like
spot.
the 50s.
And yeah, I think it's the 41st and Lex.
The tomato sandwich sounds like a weird order. I only got it because Peter told us to get it. He's like, that's what I would get. Pete? I'm a formal
I mean,
guy.
his real name is probably Peter.
Is it Pete? He doesn't go by Pete. Keep this in
But
because I
his
want to
name-
hear from Pete.
His name
Is
is,
he-
I'm
would
sure
you
his
be
real
offended?
name. His real name is probably Peter.
He seems like a guy who wouldn't mind Pete or Peter.
I mean, he
I
owns a
actually-
bar, so he probably goes by Pete.
It is a bar name, not to besmirch bar people. But if I met, yeah, you're right. If I met a bartender, I'm Peter. I go, that's Pete.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's the industry. You gotta name yourself for your
Keep
industry.
this in. We're not going to take this out. I want to hear Pete's review.
Pete, if you have an issue with it, just blast
Does
us on
Peter
Instagram.
seem demeaning? Do I sound like I'm like belittling him by going with Peter instead of Pete?
No, it's just that some people don't like. Some people have nicknamey names as their actual name, and what you assume is
Right.
what it's short for is not their name. So I'm just saying every
So
time
you
I've
think
spoken
Pete
to
is
him,
like Petrov? You think
every time I've spoken to him, his name was Pete.
okay? Can I just say, beyond the name issue we're having, great guy.
Good thing the bar's not called Pete's.
It's
Great
called
guy.
Albert's.
Yes.
Albert's. The food didn't have to be as good as it was. That's what I said.
Yes.
As I was biting in, Pete said to get the tomato sandwich. I said, get the tomato sandwich.
Describe it.
It was heirloom tomatoes, thick cut, with mayo. What's going on? Are you laughing at me?
I just think it's funny.
Yeah, well, thick cut heirloom tomatoes. The bread was like unlike any other bread. It was like
Great
on
fries.
It was like on a crouton.
Ooh.
It was with bacon.
Reinventing the wheel.
Legitimately reinventing the BLT. Pete goes, add bacon. That's how I get it. When he said it, I listen to the wait staff. Not like Jordana. Jordana's like, I live in a huge mansion. I don't have to listen to these peasants.
That's me.
I listen to. I like to hear what a waiter says. I listen to. This is like a big thing for me.
Okay.
If a waiter says, I've never really had the food here, I get up immediately.
Really?
Gone. You've
What if they're
lost
new?
me. I don't care.
Okay.
The new staff.
they
How are
try
you
it
treating
all,
the staff?
right, yeah.
Sit and eat all the food so you have an opinion.
Right.
Now, if the waiter goes, our best seller, hate it, bad sale, I don't give a fuck. I don't want what the, regular
Okay,
Jims
yeah.
and Joes
you
are
want what
getting.
he would eat.
What? And when someone says to me, I know you're gonna think this is crazy. The tomato sandwich is like, I get it. Put a little bacon on it. It's like unreal. That's a recommendation. That's a real recommendation.
Yeah.
Or if they do say bestseller, but the thing I really like is this. I like that.
Okay.
Also, if a menu has a weird thing, I'm always going to ask about it.
Okay.
They had a wild rice arancini.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Unreal.
Black rice.
Yes.
Right.
It was a wild, just
Creative.
They were doing things. They had a snack section. I love when a menu has a snack section and a side section and an appetizer section.
Yes. Great.
These-
Great date spot.
Great. Beautiful bar.
Grab a drink after
any
work.
Person, great after work. Any person would feel good about being brought there.
Yes. You would feel like someone put thought in.
Right. And here's the thing. All the goods of the Spaniard, but not at the Spaniard. Because I can understand if you're a young 27-year-old, guy, I'm not bringing them to the Spaniard where their friend hooked up with some rando at a bar. But you would like the Spaniard as a place that doesn't have that reputation. It's for a different moment.
Yes.
Albert's is that.
Great. A lot of seating. Good booths. Love a
Pete better hire me.
as your marketing.
I could speak
manager.
about Albert's all day.
You have been all
That
day.
menu.
You have been.
I really
You're
have
a
been.
huge fan. Yeah. And he was great. Everyone who worked there was awesome. Really. helped us.
Apologies
If
for the name.
You'll see some
issue.
pictures. You'll see some pictures in our shoot when it comes out.
We'll tag a bitch.
Stay tuned. Something's coming.
Something is coming. Yes,
Okay.
Candace.
Oh,
So-
oh my God! I forgot. Pete was so thoughtful. He got Mike a birthday gift because today is his birth. I mean, last week was his birthday, but today, the day we're recording, is Mike's birthday.
Him and his wife listen together. They're subscribers.
Yes.
Well, that's how I know I'll
We
get
met-
some feedback
that's
on
how
the
you know-
Peter thing.
He's good at hospitality. He brought a gift for my husband.
He is a restaurateur. Yeah, this guy
Yes.
knows what he's
Class
doing.
act.
It's the reason he's got such a successful business. I mean, Wilfie and Nell,
Love Wolfie and Nell.
and Wilfie and Nell
When I went
stood
there
the
with
test
Mike.
of time.
Second date.
That's the thing. That place is a place where people like, our age, my age,
Yeah.
especially, they're like, that's still around. I'm like, it's back. Better than ever.
Did it go away?
Well, I think for a moment it gets a frat reputation.
Right.
I think when you get the frat reputation,
You have a little lull.
you get a
Then you
lull.
come back.
And now it's kicking.
Nice.
And the area's hot,
Great group of bars.
great.
Not one dud in the mix.
Not a dud in the group. So what are we talking about today?
All right. Let's
I'm
What?
on the road. If you're
Oh.
out there, Sacramento and Cleveland, jaredfreed.com.
Sacramento and Cleveland.
Sacktown.
Is that what-
Cleveland.
Is that what they call it?
That's what I call it.
Is that what they call it?
That's what women call my balls.
Sacktown. Going to Sacktown.
Got
Has anyone ever called
got a
it
laugh
that?
out of you. The production team.
Horrified.
Full head shake.
Has
Did
that-
not enjoy that joke.
Has anyone actually ever called it that?
If a woman was blowing me and then went, "Do you want me to go to Sacktown?" I would probably propose to her right there.
Wow.
And
If
then
you're
started
listening-
licking balls.
If you're listening, this is how you get the ring.
That's it. Just
It's that easy.
up my anus as you're on Sacktown Lane.
There you go. And if that
I'm out
didn't
of my
cancel
mind.
him, let's finish the episode.
Someone just wrote that down? Hey, I'm sliding in your DMs to let you know I'm willing to take a stroll down Sacktown Lane.
When this happens to you in 3 months and we get a benefits episode about this,
About how annoyed I am that I keep getting these DMs
Yeah.
asking about Sacktown Lane.
that a Sacktown moment happened to you and you're like,
Oh.
can I tell you this crazy story? And we're going to tell you, you asked for this.
Maybe I'm asking for it because it won't be so bad to
Does,
me.
does everyone have the dating life that they ask for? Perhaps. We'll find out.
That's what we're gonna find out.
All right, let's do some icky or picky.
All
I'll read
right,
it.
let's do it.
Let's find out if this woman is icky or picky. Love the
He
podcast.
calls his balls Sacktown. Oh, what?
That's you.
Ick.
Love the podcast and all you do. Always brightens my Tuesdays and Saturdays. So you know there's a subscriber.
Thank you for subscribe. If you're not a subscriber, let me just tell you, you get the episodes a day early, but most of all, you get personal episodes of this podcast. Jordan and I go into our home life, our relationship life, our dating life. We're
Spill
taking
everything.
spill the tea all over these motherfuckers.
And we're
So-
taking your questions. So you guys are really involved.
right. You get to direct the conversation. So if you want to be a part of that,
Then subscribe at subscribe.betches.com.
subscribe.betches.com. And if you're an Apple Music or Apple Podcast, whatever, you can
can
hit the
subscribe
button
right on
there.
the
You get 7 days free, I
thing.
think. So
Yeah, you should know this by now.
right.
Okay. I have an icky or picky for you, but first, a bit of context. I'm a 26-year-old woman and have been dating my 31-year-old boyfriend for 3 years, living together for 2 here in New York.
Go to Albert's.
Interesting. A few weeks ago, his family was in town, so we all went to the Comedy Cellar.
Whoa!
Wow. Plug City.
Here we go. Great night with the fam.
Yeah. One of the comedians told a joke along the lines of, now that the weather is getting warmer, it's the time of year when we can check out girls' butts in short skirts and dresses as they walk by.
Is someone else doing my bits?
Is that you have a bit? Like, I don't think you do.
I have to say, as a comedian, there's nothing more horrific.
Yeah, this doesn't sound like a very funny bit.
Well, there's nothing more horrific than hearing someone else retell the joke they didn't like of you.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is
Because they're also butchering it.
Right.
It's not like he told it like that.
right, and she doesn't care to make it funny. She thinks it's not funny.
I mean, that's the point of she's summarizing the joke.
Right, in what she heard. And I mean, this not only does it sound hacky and done before,
Right.
but it sounds like the least funny thing I've
Doesn't
ever
sound
heard in my
very
entire
funny,
life. So I
yes.
feel this comedian, thank God I don't know who they are. Let's hope they never see this.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I would love to hear the bit just to find out maybe it was funny.
Very curious
She's
to hear the bit.
interpreting it
Right.
it's not funny.
And very just curious to
The
have been in the
concept
room.
doesn't sound funny, but like I could see a way in which it could be made funny.
I could see, here's how I could see this being funny. It's the host. The host is welcome to Comedy. I used to host there all the time. How great is it outside? It's skirt season. And he says in a way something. I could see
That
that.
doesn't even sound that funny though.
I'm trying here.
Sorry. I'm sorry. There's
Now
only
it's hurting
much
my
you can-
feelings.
There's
It's not
only
my
so
joke.
much you can do.
I'm just saying. I'm trying to
I'm
get.
saying- maybe I'm saying it. There's a way that I could imagine. I'm not saying there's no world in which this could be made into a funny joke. I
Right.
could see it. The way she's describing it does not
She
sound
did
funny.
not try to help it.
At this joke, my boyfriend laughed louder and longer than anyone else in the whole room. He threw himself.
Oh my God!
You ever see someone
It
smash
is
the
warm
table?
out. Their tits are out. Seeing all these fat asses. This guy's saying what we're all thinking.
It got to the point.
Put him on Netflix.
It
Can
got,
you imagine?
It got to the point where people were looking at him. He was laughing so hard at this one joke. He didn't laugh.
Sacktown.
He didn't laugh this hard at any of the other jokes. I didn't say anything to him, especially in front of his family, but I gave him a look to zip it after about realistically 45 seconds of his cackling, but it felt a lot longer.
Fun audience members. Can you imagine? Guy who's laughing, helping this shitty joke like work.
And she's like,
Excuse me, in the crowd. I usually love humor. Not tonight.
am I just a picky bitch or was this icky? I felt disrespected by him, basically announcing that he's checking out asses out here in New York streets in front of his parents and siblings. I understand it's a joke, but a normal laugh would have been fine. Very curious to hear your thoughts. Sincerely, no ifs, ands, buts, or laughs.
I love this email.
Good email.
It's really good. I'm making fun of it, but it is very funny. And Listen, they're at a comedy show, at a stand-up show.
That's what a comedy show is, kind of a risky thing. I mean, they've been together a while, so I don't think it's weird that
Well,
they went. But I do think a comedy show is a little bit of a risky early in the game date.
Absolutely. You're learning about them right away.
How hard do they laugh?
What do they laugh
at
at?
all?
Are they smirkers? Which is fine. Like, listen, you're allowed. My thing as a comedian, all I want is for people to laugh or don't laugh.
Right.
Like, both are good answers because I need people not to laugh to
Right.
get to the laugh. And I need, yelling out in any way is not helping. I went on stage the other night.
Doesn't sound like he was doing that, at least.
No, well, you do need a laugh leader. I think the best is a big laugh. And as a comedian, like, I can give you, listen, not all heckles are heckles. Like, not all heckles are like, you suck. That actually happens the least.
Right.
Some heckles are just like things you have to get around. So, like, if someone is in the front laughing so hard and no one's laughing at their level, it almost becomes my responsibility as a comedian to acknowledge, like, I don't think I'm as funny as this person thinks I am.
You don't
Right.
just take it?
No, I always let the crowd know that, like, listen, I
This
think
person's
they're
having the
amazing.
best
They're
time.
getting their money's worth.
Right.
Like, they are getting their laughs worth. Sometimes I'll
But
make fun
also-
of it where I'll be like, I'm not this funny. Then I'll point at someone who's not laughing. I'm not this unfunny. Can we all find the middle?
Right.
Like, I just want to acknowledge that I am here present in the room. I think that's the worst comedian is who's not present in the room.
Just
So
saying it blindly as if there's no
could have
feel
been
it in
right.
the audience.
That's
right.
the fun of a
There's
live
no self-awareness.
experience, right?
Yeah.
So the self-awareness. If someone was to laugh that hard at a joke that sucked of mine, I would be like,
You'd be insulted.
I'd go, not that funny, or I'd want to stop telling it.
Right. Well, to me, it's almost like the bigger red flag is not that he laughed at this joke, because I've laughed really hard at jokes that I didn't relate to.
Right.
I wasn't like, oh, like I have to feel like I'm like
You
I
laughed
totally
at
get it.
Sacktown Alley.
Yeah, and exactly. There you go. Like I could see. I mean, usually things are more funny when I like
Right.
relate to them, but sometimes they're really like I can put myself in that person's shoes, and like I think it's really funny, just even not necessarily having to relate to it.
Mm-hmm.
The bigger issue to me is that he's like, he's almost like not reading the room in terms of the laughter.
Well, this is where I kind of take
Or
his
he's,
side.
he's laughing so hard at jokes that's not funny. Is almost like the more like, do you have a bad sense of humor?
Well, here's the one thing I'll say about a comedy club. Some people walk in and they're just like, and the whole experience is intoxicating to them.
Right.
Where they're just like, I'm here to laugh. I'm getting my laugh on. Like, I think it's like, it makes more sense to like
It's more about their disposition than the
the
jokes
person on the
themselves.
stage,
Yeah.
or just I'm here and I'm here to have fun and I want to support, so I laugh
Mm-hmm.
to like keep. And I actually appreciate those people. Like, I think putting a cap on laughter is worse than not laughing at all.
Right.
You know, like, how much is he supposed to laugh? I agree. The subject matter, not a joke that would like, it doesn't sound like a joke that like but like what deserves? You know, like if he came in being like, we're at the comedy club, you laugh at the comedy club. I was just checking out a chick's ass earlier today. Speaking of me.
I mean,
No, but
I have to hear. I really would have to hear the joke.
I don't think it's a good way to go to a comedy show where you're like, I kind of like appreciate that this guy's like free.
I'd have to make fun of him a little bit after the show.
Of
I'd have
course.
to be like, "Wow, you really like that looking up women's skirts joke, huh?
Right. I think that's like a more healthy relationship. Like to go,
Really
wow,
enjoyed that
you
one,
thought
huh?"
that was that funny? Like
Yeah.
afterwards. I think in the moment, you can be in the moment.
Yeah. Right.
It's
It's a little awkward when two people find the same joke not at all funny or very
right.
funny.
No, I listen, I see it on stage every night
Right.
where you see a couple, like sometimes you see a couple that's like, you're like, did you guys get in a fight in the car?
Maybe they did.
And sometimes I call it out. I don't like to, listen, I make fun of people for not laughing at a comedy show. Like, I think that's like funny to me.
Right. Icky or picky?
It's picky. I think
Okay.
it's like,
What if you're with a woman at a comedy show
and she's laughing.
and
like,
the guy makes a joke about never getting blowjobs ever, and she is like hysterical.
I
She
wouldn't-
loves it.
I would think it's funny. I don't know. I really wouldn't.
I don't know what an equivalent would be. I don't know.
Dating someone, I don't know, like that. I don't know. I can't see myself getting mad at laughter.
Right. Yeah. I guess I would. I might be unbecoming to be like, You're kind of because no one. I think this is the kind of thing that men do and women don't realize men are doing all the time. I don't know if you're doing this.
Well, looking at women during skirt season.
Yeah, or like any of that stuff.
Sure, I mean, I've
kinda
heard
don't-
it
I don't
said
really think
before.
about
There's like
it.
a Boston thing that like it was like around the marathon. You know,
Right.
oh, the weather's nice. The first time that women are. It's like it's an
It's
immature
a little, like,
or whatever.
dirty old man.
Yeah, it's or immature.
Yeah.
You know, frat humor, but I can't say I'm above it. You know, like I can't say.
Yeah.
I can say just the over laughter.
I think it's picky to be upset over the joke, but I do think I think I would be a little icked out by someone not reading the room and just like over laughing at something that wasn't funny.
Right.
They were laughing
No,
instead because it would just be like more of a judgment on their taste rather than if the joke was really funny and it was and it was about this, I would be like, fine.
Right.
If it wasn't that funny and he like could not control himself, it'd just be like a little bit of a disconnect.
This is one I would want on camera just to see because
I want to see it. Too.
like it's not even the joke, it's the temperature of the room.
Mhm.
Because people listen, I've done thousands of shows. I go on stage every night for 14 years. I've seen every version of laughter.
Mhm.
I've seen the guy who laughs way too loud that the whole room turns and is like, what the fuck are you laughing at? Like, she didn't really describe it that way here. It seems like it was loud to her.
Yeah.
And his parents were there, so that's why she felt a little icked out because
Yeah.
his parents are there. She's a woman that he's checking
dating.
out other women.
Right.
So I can understand why it's like personally hurts her, but like
I'd have to see it.
I think it's picky.
I think it depends. It's joke dependent.
Okay. Let's do an
Okay.
email. Jordana and Jared sending love from Australia.
Ooh,
Good day,
down
mate.
under.
I'm a longtime listener. Following your advice, have what I like to call a you-up-led relationship. Per Jared's early date advice, traveling to bars on our first date, inviting him to my party on a second date, risky but paid off. He ended up staying the night, and we spent the next day together too. Okay, I never said it was risky. It's not risky to invite someone to hang out with you and your friends. It is actually, my point is that there's no risk at all.
Right.
Having friends meet
know what?
the guy that you're dating adds responsibility, adds you can see what they're like and the dynamic amongst your friends.
I see why she sees it as risky as like, I invited him to something. I'm putting myself out there. He could reject me. He could say
right.
no.
And then you know he doesn't want to date you for real.
Right.
So the risk, what's the risk? I'm sorry.
Are you even listening?
Maybe you can't hear me in Australia. A couple weeks later, while introducing him to the pod, the DTR combo episode came up, LOL, and I received an invite to a friend's party, partner's welcome. While I stumbled through the awkwardness of it, he looked at me and steadily and gently said, "Yeah, I'm your partner." Smiley face.
Our story page, if I've ever heard one.
This is it. Since then, love blossomed, and we moved in together after dating for a year. He found work in the city 1.5 hour drive away and commutes every day, 6:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. days. It definitely took a toll on his mental health, and the costs do add up. This was punctuated by me traveling to a different country for some weddings and my family visiting for a month, during which we lived apart early on in the move. My parents aren't big fans of this relationship, as my boyfriend and I are very different in terms of academic background, family relationships, and career history. My mistake was letting him know about this, which seems to have hurt him, but he wouldn't talk about it with me. After their visit, my relationship hasn't been the same. 6 months later, he is more distant, doesn't address or text me like he used to, with nicknames and occasional love messages. We haven't been intimate, and he expresses no enthusiasm or initiative to plan things. I've tried to talk about it, but he shuts me out and just blames the exhaustion. The only thing making me believe he still wants me is little pecks on the lips here and there, rare initiated hugs, and going along with plans I asked to make. We just decided last night that he'll be moving closer to his workplace because the travel is just not sustainable anymore. I can't move with him because I'm doing a PhD and need to live near my laboratory. There is no place halfway. It's like two cities separated by a highway. On one hand, I hope this helps him feel better and be able to talk through stuff with me. Maybe the traveling and moving in, parents' drama was too much all at once, and distance and space should help him realize he misses me. But part of me worries he's checked out halfway, and this would be the final nail in the coffin for our relationship. Am I delusional and holding out hope? Can I fix this relationship? This you up relationship needs some you up advice. Thanks for your help. Cheers. You up, down under. What do you think?
Okay. I think the parents thing and the distance thing could just be a coincidence.
Okay.
Because to me, it doesn't necessarily sound like the two things are definitely linked. I think it could be a case of someone just withdrawing from the relationship and he's doing the slow fade here. I mean, here's the thing. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, if you live with someone and then they move out of your apartment, you don't live together anymore, the person is trying very hard to break up with you.
We've gone in the wrong direction. Yes.
I rarely, if ever, have seen that work out. It doesn't. You're not getting closer. The person, to me, it sounds like they're doing a soft fade of a breakup.
He's gonna break up with you. I agree.
Or he's hoping that you break up with him.
Yeah. Yeah. He's trying to smoke her out.
To me, he's doing like the more annoying move of like, I think I should move closer to
Maybe.
work.
Yeah.
I'm
Maybe
not-
we'll get better if we're around each
hugs,
other
less sex.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry to let this person know this is gonna end.
I don't know if it has anything to do with the parents thing.
Well,
Possible.
I think it adds up. I think I think from his end, he's like, I'm traveling an hour and a half every day. The parents don't even like me. The relationship isn't really getting better. I'm giving up. You know, like, and you know, there's something to, I'll say this in my own life. There's something to like the next step and being like, how's it feel? I don't think this is the way I would do it anymore, but I have in the past been like, I don't know. Oh, okay. And then go to the next spot and you go, maybe the next spot everyone will go, they're amazing. They're wonderful. You should, come on, kids. We got to get you guys married so that we can have grandkids.
Right.
And when that doesn't happen, when the excitement isn't there, there's no surprise party, you go, I guess we got to like work through this. And he's opting to not work through this because he's like, no one's even cheering for this. We're in two different cities. I have to travel all this way. I'm not even being acknowledged as like someone who's going above and beyond.
Sounds like she has acknowledged him as like,
But even the parents, like for her parents to like not like him
right.
as he's driving an hour and a half every day to live with their daughter. Like
Right.
you go, ugh, you know,
Do you think it
fuck
does have to do with it?
I do. I
Okay.
think it like adds into the
But if the
special
relationship-
sauce that makes you
Right.
work through these things. Like,
But if the relationship was amazing, would it matter?
no, but I think it kind of lets you have a foot out the door.
Right. To me, it's sort of an excuse of
Yeah.
like, because I think that it's a valid excuse. It's something you can say in a breakup that makes you look good.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you were like kind of on the fence about the relationship, and maybe it wouldn't have worked out anyway. It's a nice thing to throw into the mix of, and here's another reason why I feel like we should cool it for a little.
Absolutely. I mean, I guess to go back to the email, like, I just think like excuses, when you have those excuses, it's like, that's you guys figuring out you're not the match
Or him figuring it out.
for himself. But
Right.
like,
Because,
what's she supposed to say? Like, I'm trying to think of like what she could say to him to like
well, it's
talk this out, like,
I
because
feel-
it becomes about everything else.
yeah, and I feel bad for her because I think I do this too, and women I think a lot of the times do this, where we try to find a reason for something, and we're like, she's like, oh, if only my parent, and then you kind of stay stuck on it, like if only my parents were this
Right.
way, it would have, like we could have figured it out, we would have made the relationship work, and I think a lot of the times, like the guy was gonna be out anyway, and it's easy for them to like state a thing that wasn't the real thing, or there wasn't that, it was that he just kind of felt like it wasn't the match. And then you kind of over harp on those things.
Well, I've broken up with people where I've had the excuses, and now when I look back on it, like those excuses represented why we weren't the match.
okay.
So
So
like,
you think that is,
I think
it is real?
it's
then?
hard to do in real time. It's hard to like put it all together. It's never been easy for me.
Mhm.
But I can look back at like, you know, I've dated people who like, I was like, we'd get in arguments about my family coming with us to like the beach.
Right.
Like we would go to the beach, and then I'd be like, oh, my brother and his girlfriend are going to come too. And that was like a huge issue.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when that was a big issue, I would think about that and I'd be like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, you know, I can't believe we're having a fight about this. I can't believe this is something we're arguing about. Like, it seems so small. I'm trying to get you to know my family, you know, like, and and then I kind of like would put my thing aside, and then
So it really was about that then.
right.
Yeah.
Well, in the end, I'm like, I think we have, what you don't know how to put to words is maybe we have a different philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't really want to work through this philosophy that I have and your philosophy.
But in the situation you're describing, it's the person has the different philosophy, not the person's family.
Right, but the way you're handling this, where the family just stayed with us for a month while telling you, then you told me that they didn't like me,
Right.
and I'm driving back and forth.
that's on the-
if
right,
someone
that's
was
on
doing
her.
that for
Yeah.
me, you would go. I would think that I would hope that my family would be like,
Maybe
well,
it's how she handled it then, more less about
right,
the family.
and
yeah.
and that's the thing, like where it's like, I think when you get in a relationship and the variables come up,
yeah.
you handle them the way you handle them, and that's kind of who you are as a couple.
Right.
And I don't know, it just feels like they're
Well, I
working
agree.
through it now, and then I do think he's taking the worst way out of this.
Right. To
I
me, it's like
agree,
it's a little cowardly. Like he's sort of like, he's like doing the Homer Simpson backing into the bush thing
Mhm.
till he's gone. When the more mature thing to do, instead of like doing this withholding affection and kind of like slowly inching back and I should move closer to my job thing, is like,
Hey,
this is what
isn't
happened.
working.
Like, I don't like the way your family treated me. I don't like the way that you handled the way your family treated me. I kind of feel like maybe this isn't going to work.
Mhm.
And it's also like really draining on me physically to go back and forth here. And I just don't know if the relationship is worth it anymore.
That's the adult way to go. That's
Yeah.
not what's happening.
Right.
And for this person, like trying to salvage it, I think your effort shouldn't be towards salvaging it. It should be having that conversation.
Right.
Like,
and then you'll find out what's what,
right.
if there's anything left to salvage.
The only way a relationship gets salvaged is if you don't mind losing it.
Right. Well, that's like with anything else. Like that's,
Right.
how do you define the relationship? How do you, do the reveal?
Mm-hmm.
You have to be okay to do it, to have a power position in everything. You have to be able to hear answers that you don't want to hear. You have to ask questions that you don't really want the answer to,
Right.
because the answer, even though you don't want the answer is going to be better for you in the long term. Sort of like,
Absolutely.
it's almost like you're doing something against yourself by like potentially breaking up with yourself.
Right. Right. Because right now, the idea that like if we don't talk about this and you just move an hour away, we'll be better. No, ain't gonna fix itself.
Wrong.
Solve dating again.
We did it. We'll be back next week.
Boom.
The U Up podcast is produced by Belle Roman and Candace Maniga. Edited by Belle Roman. Social media by Candace Maniga. Guest booking by Ali Friedlander. VP of podcast is Chris Allen. And be sure to follow You Up at u.up.podcast.